for the most part, I was reliable. And in the NFL and in life in general, it's like, who on my team am I going to trust to be in that position and put them on the field? Because I know they put in the work. I know they put in the skills. I know what they're doing. That has so much more value than being able to have a potential breakout here and there, right? And I started to realize that because I started to get some more respect from the coaches and things like that. It's because I knew what I was doing at all times.
So, folks, we always talk about some of the new agenda that we have going on, which is financial literacy for kids in sports, that, you know, some of them don't make it to the NBA, some of them don't make it to the NFL, but because of the repetition and the amount of hours that kids put into sports, they could be really good business owners if someone teaches them at a younger age. So some of the movements that we're working on right now is to be able to create that, plus marketing and branding, as well as being able to speak with influence and strategically position yourself to make the right decision. So today, I have not only a phenomenal football player, but someone that is already exiting mindset-wise on how to become, or is an entrepreneur in not only real estate, speaking, and some other foundational things that are going on. Austin Ekeler,
Yes.
the San Diego Chargers.
L.A. We
LA.
moved to L.A.
Sorry, I'm
no,
from
you're
Jersey.
good. You're good. All
My
good.
name's Rob from Bayonne. So, L.A. Chargers. And Austin, thank you so much for being on our show today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. It's a
Really
pleasure to be
appreciate
here.
it.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been hearing about some of the stuff you got going on. It's pretty impressive, and yeah, look up to that, man.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. So tell us a little bit about where you are with LA right now. I hear great things about the season you had and what it looks like going forward.
Yeah, so, you know, in the football sense of my life, I just finished my 6th year, which has been a blessing because I never thought I was going to be in the NFL. I never watched the NFL growing up.
No.
I'm from a small town in Colorado. If you saw where I live, this is barren grass, dead grass, and there's a house way back in the hills. You know, I like to say it's on the outskirts of the middle of nowhere. So really didn't have any aspirations growing up going into the NFL, but was able to continue to build on opportunities that I had.
Wow.
And then by the time I finished my junior year, I had scouts coming to watch practice, and it became a real opportunity from me.
Junior in college.
Junior in college, yeah.
Tell me about high school first.
Yeah, high school. I had a pretty good career, and then my senior year really had a really good year. It had like 43 touchdowns, like averaged like 10 yards a carry. Wow. But it's a small school, like 500 kids in the school, and so really
you were an outlier though. They've never seen what you were bringing.
Absolutely,
the smoke you were bringing, they didn't see.
But here's the thing. They still didn't see it because I didn't get recruited by any Division I schools.
Was it because the school you were in, or because of your size, or
well, you tell me, because if you're at a small school, or if you're at a place where the competition's not as good, what do you got to do?
Yeah,
you got to dominate. You got to dominate.
10 yards of carries, dominate.
And guess what? I absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I still didn't get picked up or any offers or anything like that, I'm not sure what happened, but ended up going to a Division II school.
No scholarship. As D1.
Division. Yeah, I was Division
At a
II
high
school. Division II school. I had a scholarship. We don't get full rides in Division II, right? So for me, I'm not really going to school to play football. I'm going to school to get my education, but I'm using football to pay for it.
Yep.
And so you can increase your scholarship in D2. You just got to get all conference. You got to get all academic, all American, all these different things. So I'm putting a ton of effort into my college career and into my education, because I think that's where my next opportunity is going to be, is my education.
So at this point in college, you're not thinking NFL?
Not thinking
as
NFL.
A freshman?
As a freshman, no.
Yeah. So can you talk, before we get into what happened, can you tell me more about your mindset, habits, rituals, and stuff that really kind of made you tick?
Ooh, yeah.
So not only on the field but off the field.
So going back to high school, I grew up in the ranch out in Colorado, and it was a tough love environment. As far as the point where I had a bunch of responsibility put on my plate. My mom was married to this guy. They're divorced now, but he had a whole bunch of livestock. He had his own fencing company. And so he would be gone all the time, and I would be at home taking care of all the animals. I didn't have anything to do with these animals, but it was my responsibility.
Got it.
And so I had a ton of responsibility, and it was, hey, you take care of it, you get your ass beat. Like it was that type of environment. And so for me...
Did you have siblings?
I had a little brother, yeah. I had a half brother.
Would you protect them and stuff like that? Or
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For sure. We were really close. That's all we had, because we were so far out there in the country. But basically learn how to work, right? Yeah. Like this guy, like during the summers, we're building barbed wire fence, and these are like government jobs, like 25 miles of barbed wire fence, pounding posts, clipping wires, stringing fence, all that. And when you're in that environment and kind of grow up in that, and then also throw sports into the mix, you really learn how to work.
Yes.
Like you learn what work is, and your work mentality compared to a lot of, especially me, a lot of my other teammates, was a lot different.
Yeah.
Like what I thought was hard and what they thought was hard was
two different things.
Was two different things. And so when I showed up to work, and I wanted to work, like that's what it was ingrained in me. I wanted to go to the weight room. I wanted to keep running. I wanted to keep doing the things that were seen as hard for everyone.
So you didn't have to go back to the ranch.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I want to be there more, right? Because this is fun to me. This is my getaway. And so once I got out of high school.
But now we're focused on academics in college at this point?
Yeah, so I'm focusing strictly on academics. And obviously I'm playing football too, and I'm putting energy into that so I keep my scholarship. But I was going into business. I was going to energy management, was going to work for an oil and gas company, got a job offer, got an internship, all of that. And then after my junior year, my head coach comes to me. He's like, hey, man, like, you might have an opportunity to get into a camp with the NFL after next year.
Wow.
And to me, it was kind of like.
What happened, though, that happened? Did you have a great junior year?
My freshman year I started. I was offensive freshman of the year. Second year, what led the league and everything again was breaking records. Junior year, just kept on
Same as what happened in high school.
Same thing as happened in high school, right? Just continued to dominate, continued to show that I can play this game at a high level. And I mean, you see me, I'm 5'8", 195. I'm not the biggest guy. This is a big man sport, right? And it's
incredible as I sit here.
Yeah, it's so
incredible as I sit here. You just be careful who you talk to, because you never know what could happen in life.
You don't know.
You may say something to the wrong person, and you may regret it.
Right. And so, I've led the NFL in the past 2 years in touchdowns, right? And so it's like look at me. And so it's like, it's not the physical thing that sets me apart, though, right? It goes back to building fence every summer, right? Putting this mindset in my mind. And you talked about it before on the very beginning in the intro, where, these athletes, right, they have these transferable skills that can go into the business world.
It's not taught in school.
And it's a perfect example of what happened for me, right? I was going business. Yes, I had my work ethic for football and the working out and stuff, but guess what? I got an opportunity in football, and so I took all those skills I used in business, my marketing, my networking, my relationship building, right? Pursuit of excellence and immersing yourself to learn everything about the job, put that into football, and it just put me in a situation where I was just flourishing, because I had the work ethic, but then I was also getting extra things that guys weren't, because I was putting myself forward. I was spending time with my coaches upstairs, asking them the right questions. I told my coach before, I was 6th string running back, by the way, before I made the team.
In the NFL?
In the NFL. I was 6th string, so what happens is we have a 90-man roster. Right?
What year were you drafted? I'm sorry.
I was undrafted.
Oh, okay.
Undrafted. I didn't get drafted.
Got it. All right.
So once again, they're like, we'll pick this guy up. We'll see what he can do. So I come in as undrafted. There's 90 of us on the roster. There's 6 running backs. I'm number 6. Wow. 0 6th-string running backs make the NFL roster. Yep. Let me tell you that right now. And so I am absolutely putting everything into this opportunity. I'm leaving nothing on the table as far as regret, that I didn't want it to be something that I didn't do to cause me to fail, right? I'm doing everything.
Love that.
And I was so stressed out. I put it to the point where I was like, I'm going to make this like my life depends on this.
Was this during camp?
Is this during camp?
Okay.
Camp and OTAs.
Got it.
I'd never expected this opportunity. This is the biggest thing I've ever had in my life. I'm going to treat this like my life depends on it.
Yeah.
And I straight up tapped into my survival instinct. I remember being so stressed out. I remember breaking down, crying, because I never moved up the depth chart. I was prepared for every single moment I had. I didn't get many because I was 6th string. There's not many 6th strings that are getting many reps. We're getting like 4 or 5 reps. Wow. Most of my reps came on scout team, special teams. Wow. But when it was go time, I was untouchable. You couldn't touch me. I was running like everything. My life depended on it. And if you can go back watch my clips from my rookie year.
I would love to see. So what happened in camp though?
So here's what happened.
Was there a breakthrough moment?
No, there's no breakthrough moment. But wow. So here's what I learned though.
Yeah.
This is what I learned, which creates value just in the rest of my life, where I didn't need to have the breakthrough moment of, oh my God, this guy is this superhuman. What I did though was every time I was on the field, I did my job, and they started to build trust in me.
Got it.
Right. I got my job. I made plays here and there. Right. Yeah. I made mistakes here and there, but for the most part, I was reliable. And in the NFL and in life in general, it's like, who on my team am I going to trust to be in that position and put them on the field? Because I know they put in the work. I know they put in the skills. I know what they're doing. That has so much more value than being able to have a potential breakout here and there, right? And I started to realize that because I started to get some more respect from the coaches and things like that. It's because I knew what I was doing at all times. And I obviously ended up making the team.
So that year you made it?
That year I made the team.
And how long was that camp for?
So camp is 6 weeks, probably about 12 weeks.
So it was a 12-week run. You make the team.
12-week run.
And then what happens?
So 12-week run. I make the team. I am third string. I'm playing mostly special teams, running down on punt and stuff like that.
And that's where a lot of people get their opportunities, right?
That's where I got most of my opportunities because I wasn't playing offense. So I was playing scout team, special teams. That's where I started showing up and started making plays there. And so got myself in the team. My favorite stat to this year, by the way, I never played special teams ever before this. No. Ever. Never. I have no idea what I'm doing. But it's what I have. So this is what I got to work with. So my first year in the league, when I tell you I was tapped into my survival instinct, I led the entire NFL on tackles on punt.
Wow.
And
that's hard.
I've never done this before. And I'm out here. I led the NFL because it meant so much to me. I put so much effort into it. Yeah. Right. And then guess what?
Would you study the punt, like when you were going into the next game?
I knew everything.
Got it.
I knew everything I could potentially. Got it. I wanted to make sure it wasn't like, oh damn, I should have looked at this. I could have known that. I could have anticipated that. Yeah. Right. And so when you fully immerse yourself, when you feel like everything depends on it, you do everything.
I love that.
And you can't. Amazing. It's not really sustainable. But for my first year,
it's lonely. I bet.
It very lonely. Yeah. And so here's the thing. It got me in. Then I started to learn how to be a pro. I started to learn I didn't need to do all the stuff that I was doing. There was stuff that I could tweak in my regimen. But for my first 2 years, that's how I was. And then I started getting on offense, right? And that's when I really started to actually shine, right? Like my first year, I scored 5 touchdowns, which I never even thought I was going to be on the team as an offensive player. Wow. And so I started to get some respect there. The next year, they put me half and half off. Now I'm a second string behind the first round pick from a few years ago, and I'm half and half. I'm splitting reps with him. The third year, he ends up holding out, so now I'm the starter, and I pop off. I'm going off while he's holding out, and basically solidified my spot as the new starter, and they let him go after that year.
And you know what? Consistent hard work, that's what happens, right? Someone doesn't show up, so there's an injury, or someone holds out, and for the person that's put in that time.
And so just even building in this, like going into my second year, like I still have my business mind that stays with me, still with me today. And so
tell me about that.
That started to creep back up. I've always wanted to get into real estate, and so that's where I think my entrepreneurial side really started, is when I started to learn more about real estate. I started to learn how to be a pro, got a routine for that. And I was like, okay, let me start broadening my horizons, because I still hadn't felt like I was building anything. Like the NFL, it's really streamlined. Like it's absolutely hard to get there, but it's still high school, college, pros. Like it's very streamlined, follow the path, there's a line, and it doesn't, like there's like a part missing inside me that's like, I'm not venturing out and trying to do stuff by myself. Impact. Yeah, exactly. And so I'm making an impact with the NFL, which is huge, but like I don't feel like I'm making my own in my own way.
Yeah, I get it.
And so, I'm like, okay, let's start finding that side. So real estate was kind of like my own little personal venture, and then I start getting into streaming. So I start learning about these two. I start learning about these two different these industries, and so I start getting around these people that know what they're doing. I met a house flipper. I started buying multifamily houses from him. Ended up, 4 years later, we started our own real estate fund together. Now we're building out big old portfolio. So that just snowballed, right? And then in the streaming world, I started connecting with fans, because I was very fortunate, and I was very just appreciative of the people that were supporting me, because I knew none of this existed without the fans. Yeah. And so I was tapping into the fantasy community. I was tapping into the Charger fan. I'm doing giveaways. I'm doing live streams. Come on and ask me questions. Here's access to me. And what I realized is that I can't do content full time, because the content full time is so hard. You need a whole team around that. I didn't have that. And so I actually transitioned my streaming, and then I built my own platform called Experience that I'm building right now. It's my app in the tech space. And so that's been a new venture that I've been starting over the past 3 years and building up. And so really that business side, right, those transferable skills, right, from athletics, from the business mind, right, have been going back and forth, and I've been utilizing them for both and moving basically all the different aspects of my life forward.
So do you teach other players this stuff, like on the real estate? Do you talk? So, what is the NFL internal? Do they talk to each other? Do you guys?
So yeah, we talk. But here's the thing, and you know this too. Just being a veteran, business person, where it's like you can't skip steps.
Yes.
You cannot skip steps.
Right.
So if you try to enable somebody, they're going to skip steps. They're going to crash, because they're going to feel like, well, how do I just get this again?
Yeah.
Right? They didn't get the X. Well, they don't go A, B, C. You can't start it. Exactly. They got to go through the grind. They got to understand that they need to learn on their own. They need to make their own connections. They need to go out and try things, or maybe go touch the stove, get burned here or there, or maybe right? You can show them some type of opportunity and way, like, hey, this is what I've done, but I can never for my guys be like, hey, this is what you need to do, because they see me and they see this completed product of, oh, you have all these things going on, but then they see me my rookie year when I had none of this. And so the things that I like to break down, I try to break it down to fundamentals for myself. And a lot of my guys, I'm like, look, because they come to me, they're like, hey, Austin, how do I get started? And like one was like, hey, how do I get started in trucking and in restaurants and things like that? Because I have a couple of those. It's like, before you get into any of this, you need to learn. You need to learn the language of any of this space, right? So that you can speak with it, right? Because then when you meet someone in it that could be a potential partner for you, you know if they're bullshitting you can talk the language for, you can talk the language with them. You can start asking the right questions, right? And that's going to start educating you. It's going to start, right, giving you a presence in that space, right? And so, right, you have to first find out what you want to get into, learn about it, meet people in the space. Then you can start coming up with a plan for a point of attack to actually go out and try to execute that plan.
Amazing. I love everything you're talking about. Is incredible. Entrepreneurial, being a student, asking the right questions, creating a map through a massive action plan, having a why that makes you cry, and be able to have, really leverage on yourself on a daily basis.
See, there it is.
What does it look like for you? How many more years, the NFL, how many more years are on your contract? So where do you see yourself post NFL? I think I know. But if I look 5 years from now, where do you want things to be?
5 years from now, if I made that long in the NFL, it'd be year 11 for me.
Do you want to? That's my question. So do you legitimately what is it, physical, the whole thing? Yeah. So I just finished year 6. My body still feels really good. I'm really strong, fast. Have been fortunate to avoid any major injuries, and so really looking forward to the next 2-3 years of my NFL career. You're at your peak right now.
I am at my peak right now.
Got it.
Yeah, like I said, last 2 years led the entire league, and no one scored more touchdowns than me. I think someone behind me in the last 2 years is 12 back.
Amazing.
And so I'm definitely pushing the pace as far as my position.
Amazing.
And so for me, it's like, okay, let's see how far and how long we can sustain this, and maybe increase it as well. So that'll be the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, that's as far as I can see out in my career. Even that's kind of far. You kind of take it year to year.
What do you do? What are some of the things you do to take care of your body?
So I'm old school when it comes to this. I am just, let me work out, let me eat food. That's it. That's all I want to do. I just want to work out. So you have all the cryo, acupuncture, all this stuff. If it works for you, great. Guess what works for me? Let me get in the damn gym 4 days a week. That's what's going to work for me.
Do you get a lot of rest? Do you sleep?
Yes. Definitely make sure to get 8 hours of sleep and get my workout in every single day. And
are you into meditation or?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't do any of that. I don't do any meditation.
I love it. It's great.
No, I ain't doing the meditation. No.
So you don't walk on fire or nothing like that?
No, I ain't doing any of that. No. Work is my meditation. I feel like that's where I feel at peace.
So if we look at your real estate fund, amazing, and your ability to understand business.
Yeah,
right? I can see that. Is there other businesses you want to get involved in?
Yes. So obviously getting into the tech world, but the next one that I've realized that is never ever going to go away and is always existing, always evolving, that can have value across any different industry that you're in, is marketing. So definitely starting to learn more about marketing. And it's an ever evolving space, especially now with AI coming out and how that's getting implemented, and all this data that you can have generated. With experience, we collect a lot of data, and so I'm like, I have a ton of information, but I can't tap into the value unless I'm able to give it to people that actually want to use it, right? Which comes down to marketing. Well, who wants this information that I'm gathering? Okay, so that's why I'm so my next, I'm probably going to find some type of marketing play to get into.
So are you always thinking about business and thinking about
it's,
your brain is always on, right?
I call it a blessing. It's a blessing and a curse.
I know. It's a lonely journey. I'll tell you that. It really is, and people don't understand me. How about that?
No.
Once you start getting into those spaces,
it's because like you said, you don't turn off. It's because you have a creative mind and you think of ways to act upon it, or how you can implement it, or maybe if that could fit with this, right? And that's the blessing in it, is because you want to build, you want to create, you want to add value to yourself, the people around you, right? But it's always it's a curse too, because it's it cuts into But my lady, it's she wants to talk about this, and I'm she is literally just my absorber of all my ideas, right? And so, and so it cuts into priorities and personal time, and you have to find this balance of making sure that like she holds me accountable to make sure I get personal time with her, and so I'm very thankful to have her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you got to have a team around kind of all aspects of your
You
life.
have to have a team around a team.
Exactly, exactly.
So if you want to check out Austin's fund, it's a real estate fund. He's been in the game for a while. He's got some good partnerships. Has created some strategies where they can take the bank out of the equation, which is why they opened up
Yeah,
the fund.
so just a little bit about it. We are positioned. So I partner with that house flipper. So we have 5 crews.
Yep.
So we'll purchase mass foreclosures. Usually they're a little bit more torn down.
Yep.
But where we position ourselves is where you have our 5 flipping crews. So we'll go move our crews to that area. Like our most recent was in Kansas City, Missouri, about 65 houses for $65K each. So we'll put 12.5 down on each of these houses, and we'll go. Yeah, oh, bro.
Oh my God.
Killer unicorn deal.
God.
Unicorn deal. We have like a 3.99 too. This is before interest rates started skyrocketing. But things like that. That's what we find these bigger projects that need work because we are positioned to go in and flip these up. It takes a couple years, but we get these huge equity plays, right? Where we 1031 those into actual things that will give us some cash flow in the future.
He knows the game.
So yeah.
Real estate.
So that's what we do.
Return.
Exactly.
Cash flow, mortgages, just right off depreciation and appreciation.
There you
go. So folks, check it out. Thank you for checking us out. Click the link below if you have any questions. If you want to learn more about Austin's fund, we'd love to make a connection with you. He's on fire right now. Not only is the peak of his football career, but I suspect as an entrepreneur, he made me 10 times the amount of money based on what he's doing, which is pretty awesome. And I want to thank you so much for being part of the show, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Likewise.
Thank you for sharing your experience, your strength, and your hope.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me on.